Good afternoon. State Representative Keith Kidwell, representing the 79th District, Beaufort, Hyde, Pamlico, Dare counties, here to tell you the weekly update, or give you the weekly update from Raleigh, North Carolina, what's going on in the General Assembly. So, very exciting is that we're going to have our drone sponsor company, Accelerate, who has been a partner at the Washington Warren Airport in developing drone technology as we move into that future and the jobs that will be coming down there. We actually signed a contract with a large firm, which we currently have to keep nameless, that will be testing drone flying down there probably in the next week or so. So that's really good information. Also, I spoke with representatives from Hyde County this week in reference to the Hyde Airport. We're looking at how we merge that into the drone project, as well as expanding for general aviation. So there'll be more on that to come in the future. But anyway, so Accelerate is going to be here at the General Assembly. We'll do a presentation with the airport and with Hyde County, so Washington and Hyde's airports, to look at what we can do to enhance the ability to bring jobs into those areas and make sure that we're developing those in a practical manner for the area. So more to come on that next week and as we move forward. But that, if you want to attend, there'll be some drone flying. We've put in an application waiting for that to come back right up here at the General Assembly on the Mall on March 7th, and that will run from about 12 noon until 4 o'clock. Beyond that, this week I was able to get off into the floor, got its first reading, House Bill 248, which is the Remember 9/11 Freedom Flag. So that flag I'll post on the internet to show you what it looks like, but it's a flag to commemorate the victims and the tragedies of 9/11. I hope that that bill gets passed. It's something we need to make sure, as we said on 9/12, never forget. This morning I presented House Bill 96, the North Carolina REACH Act. What the REACH Act does, we've spoken on this one before, is it requires our universities and colleges to teach our founding documents: Declaration of Independence, Constitution, the Federalist Papers, the letter from Birmingham Jail, the Gettysburg Address, and so on, so that when we graduate students from school, they have an understanding as to the importance of who America is, how we got where we are, and how it's governed. And a lot of them, I've seen a lot of kids, if you ask them what was the Gettysburg Address, they said, "I'm sorry, I don't know Mr. Gettysburg." So, we've got to make sure that that doesn't happen. It was a pleasure to host Rick Santorum, Senator Santorum, at the Freedom Caucus this week. Rick came in and spoke on several topics, one of which is Convention of States, which personally I am not in favor of. When we talk about a Convention of States, that opens up our Constitution to a rewrite, and they're saying, well, we have to do something to make Congress abide by the Constitution. And, that's like telling me you have to write a law to make robbing banks more illegal than it already is. That you can't write a law to make Congress obey a law that they're not currently obeying. The way we do that is we the people. We wrote the contract. We're the ones that have to enforce that contract. If you want to make Congress obey that, you get on the phone, you go visit them, you talk to them like people do so many times and come up here and talk at my office. I'm glad to host you. They are too, but they need to hear from you. When we send elected officials off to do business and we don't keep our eye on them, it's about the same thing as putting your 5-year-old in a room and leaving him alone for 8 hours. You know he's going to get in trouble. And that's what happens with the people you elect and send to both D.C., Raleigh, and everything else, and your boards of education. So in the REACH Act, when we talked about that earlier, kind of tie these two together, one of the concerns is in the REACH Act is they said, well, they're teaching this already in high school. Well, you teach biology in high school too. But if you're going to be a doctor, you have to take more advanced courses. That's what college is supposed to be about, is taking a deeper dive into the subject matter and probably somewhat of a different dive. So, that kind of ties it all back to show that the need for these types of programs. Freedom Caucus is going to invite, I'll maybe throw air quotes on that, which I'm not real fond of. We're going to invite the Elections Committee Chairman to come and speak to us about what election reform bills will be run this year. If we do not get a satisfactory offer for a bill, the Freedom Caucus itself will take the matters up and start introducing our legislation and work to push those through the North Carolina General Assembly. So looking forward to working on that. The North Carolina SAVE Act was, I was proud to co-sponsor that this week. The SAVE Act allows PAs, physicians assistants, and nurses, NPs, nurse practitioners, to practice within the scope of their license. And I've spoken to a lot of the NPs and PAs in our area, in the 3rd Congressional District, And they're very interested in seeing this pass because it gives more access to health care to the people in the community. So we just shut down, or I say Vidant, ECU Health now, just shut down the Aurora Clinic. And that was one of my questions, is due to con laws, certificate of need, which we've spoken of previously, we can't go down there and just open another clinic. And I asked them, I said, wouldn't it be better if we could take that clinic, open it back up, and staff it with PAs and NPs, and at least have some sort of medical treatment there? And they felt that no, that wasn't a good thing. I'm confused because I thought we wanted to give access to health care. And, if I'm injured or sick or something along those lines, if I can't get to a doctor, I'm going to take the nurse practitioner or the physician's assistant. And I know a lot of you have seen them at your own doctor's office. Matter of fact, a lot of times you'll call them up and they'll say, do you want to see the doctor or the PA? Well, is it a discount for the PA? No? Okay, well, give me the doctor then, because that's whose office I called. But there's no reason NPs and PAs can't practice within the scope of their license, and I'm going to work to make sure that we get that legislation passed. Next one is death by distribution, House Bill 250. I was proud to co-sponsor this. Death by distribution increases the penalties for drug dealers when one of their victims dies. So we're going to raise up the felony class on that, put them in jail longer, and hopefully throw the key away. Also want to announce that the town of Bath and Washington City, between the two, received about $10 million in grants for water, sewer, and drainage. Hope that that's going to help quite a bit. And that's about it for this week. This is Representative Keith Kidwell coming to you from Raleigh. We'll see you all in the trenches. Have a great week. Thank you.